Good morning, family. This is Aunt Beth. Welcome to my lamppost. This morning I want to talk to you about something fairly serious. I'm feeling very solemn this morning. But I've been praying about this and I want to share with you. And an example of how I am trying to apply it in my own life. But I feel like we're coming up to a significant watershed event. I don't know how soon. It's funny how God is such a now God that every time He starts talking to you, you think it's right away. But I want to encourage you to be very intentional, deliberate, thoughtful in the choices that you make, the decisions that you make, most particularly with your time and with your money. I don't know what is going to happen. I know that the believer that's trusting the Lord, will be okay. But the Lord's been talking to me about leaky buckets. That we can't solve a problem the same way we've always solved it. Let me give you an example, deeply personal. This year, financially, has been brutal on me personally. And I have always worked ever since I was, 15, 16 years old, and worked really hard. Sometimes 2 or 3 jobs when I was in college in order to keep afloat and keep moving. So, I like to work. It's a good thing. I like to work. But when the year was so unexpectedly financially brutal on me, my thoughts turned to, should I go back to work full-time like I used to, which for me meant somewhere around 50 to 60 hours a week. And plus all the stress, plus the commuting, plus everything else. And I really felt a check in my spirit, like, no. And have been seeking the Lord about that. And He challenged me and said, if you had $1 gazillion, what would you do? And I'm like, pretty much what I'm doing now, which is praying for you all, doing these YouTubes, plus the volunteering and stuff that I do offline, and my hobbies, reading and sewing, but staying engaged with people, community groups and church and prayer groups. So He really challenged me that I was trusting in a buffer of my resources and not in Him. It's not that I don't address the problem, and I am, and I have been, as far as, He said, basically think of leaky buckets. There's 2 leaky buckets. One person knows that they've got a leaky bucket, and their solution is to just run faster and harder to put out the fire. Another person has a leaky bucket and they sit down and they plug the holes. And then it only takes one trip to put out the fire. Tiny fire. So I can either be running really fast and driving myself crazy, or I can seek the Lord, spend the time, plug the bucket, and move forward. Okay? So, and it wasn't until yesterday when I was talking about to my prayer partner, it occurred to me, the word calls those broken cisterns. You know, why have you hewn out a broken cistern for yourself? You know, it's not dependable, and you are constantly working to replenish yourself. So I'm just saying all of that to say it's not that I'm ignoring the situation, but I can't solve it the same way I've always solved it. I really felt the Lord saying, no, go this way, not that way. The second personal story is the year I lost my job, when all things good ended up coming out of that. I remember going to the grocery store one time, and I was on an extremely strict budget. Because, as you know from previous conversations, the Lord said, don't take unemployment. So I put myself on a really strict budget and burning through everything I had. And I was going to get $20 extra for cash. And I literally felt the presence of the Lord just stop my hand. And I'm like, okay, well, I needed that $20 to pay a bill that I didn't know what was coming. I think it was my water bill that comes like quarterly or something, but I needed that $20, you know. So listening to the Lord in even the little things. We have some rough waters coming up. I don't know what they are, but we have some rough waters coming up. So whatever the Lord speaks to you to prepare out of faith, not fear, not guessing, not the echo chamber of whatever people are saying, but what in the quiet part of your heart, what does the Lord say to you? How do you need to plug your bucket? How do you need to fill it? You know? The Lord has not spoken to me like he did last time. You know, prior to the year I lost my job. We need an acronym for that. It was 1999, and he said, buy 2 of everything at the grocery store. When you go to the grocery store, whatever you're buying, buy 2 and put the second one away. And I thought, ooh, Y2K is happening. Well, it didn't happen. I guessed wrong, but I was obedient to what the Lord said. You know, and in April, tax day, I lost my job and didn't have get another one until July of the next year. But those, I don't know how God did it. Everything took me through, you know. God was so amazing. But the key point is I was obedient. Now, the Lord has not said that to me this time. And everybody's circumstances is going to be different. But what I think he has said to me is be intentional, be deliberate, seek me as far as your decisions, as far as time and money. And it's going to be okay. So seek the Lord. Seek the Lord. It's going to be okay. I hope this encourages you. I have determined to fix my bucket before the fire starts. So, Have a fabulous day. All God's best.